Welcome to the Easy Bros Fantasy Football Podcast.
Coming at you from the Easy Bros studio in blistering hot Arizona.
Here are your hosts and football fanatics, Edward Green and Zach Rogers.
How goes it, Easy Bros? Welcome to the Easy Bros Fantasy Football Podcast, where we make fantasy football easy for you. I'm Zach.
And I'm Fast Eddie, your fantasy football baker. I'm here to tell you about the guys tonight that were getting in their bread baskets and the ones that were on a roll here on Thursday night's game.
Yeah, all right. I like that one.
Yeah, see? Told you, I had it in mind.
All right. We're going to get in this Thursday night matchup. We had the Texans against the Chiefs. We finally had football.
Ooh, night one, huh?
Beautiful thing.
The first night of the football weekend, the Houston Texans lose 20-34 to the Kansas City Chiefs.
It was a pretty good game. At least in the first half.
Yeah, it was.
It was just nice to watch football.
I was expecting more deep passes in this game than there were.
Yeah.
There was a lot of quick passes, a lot of running
cuts.
everywhere.
Quick cuts is what it seemed like.
DJ looked like he was back to his old self, even though they lost. He played really well.
Yeah, he did do really well. I believe it was 11 carries, 77 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah,
that's not bad for your debut game with your new team.
He had a 19-yard run. They said that it was the longest one of the season that he had last year, longer than any run that he had last year. So that's good for David Johnson, and that's looking up even for a team that lost.
And over across from him on the Chiefs side, you've got the rookie, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. 25 carries, 138 yards, one touchdown.
Hey, there was lots of talk about him.
27 for the long.
Lots of talk about him.
He surprised me.
They blew him up. Me and you wanted to see what he could do. We weren't sure how it was going to work. Hey, and it did. They knew exactly what they were doing. All the talk and all the hype about Edwards-Helaire seemed to pan out, right?
Yeah, translated to fantasy, that's for sure.
How about some other guys here that played well fantasy-wise? We had Fuller.
Fuller had a pretty good game. 8 receptions, 112 yards.
He just didn't cap it off with that, that touchdown you kind of want your receiver to capitalize on.
Averaged 14 yards a catch. That's not bad at all.
No, that is really good.
It shows good for all those Fuller owners that were in doubt going into week 1. Hey, I saw a lot of questions on, do I start Fuller or do I start this guy? Hey, I guess our questions are answered. Fuller is the number 1.
Leading right up to the game, I was even questioning myself. I do have Fuller. I started him in my flex position. I almost swapped him out for Parker, but I'm kind of glad that I didn't.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Deshaun Watson didn't have that great of a game. Struggled a little bit. 253 yards, touchdown, interception. He did some groundwork himself. He had, 6 carries, 27 yards, something like that.
Yeah,
and a touchdown. That's what saved his fantasy day.
The interception was a tip pass as he was throwing it at the line. I don't know where it was going, to be honest. It probably would have been intercepted either way.
Didn't seem like there was anybody in the area.
Yeah, so he was under duress the whole game. It seemed like Kansas City was just back there. Clark was just destroying the line through every block, and he was just chasing him down. It seems like every time that he was back there snapping the ball.
Yeah, the Chiefs defense definitely surprised many people.
I thought that they would kind of lose a little bit of that push up front, losing Emmanuel Ogbah, but it really didn't seem like,
Clark was just taking advantage of that right tackle.
Yeah, it really did. He was blowing right through him in the line, and like I said, putting Watson into rest, and it showed. It really did.
But on the other side of the ball, you got Patrick Mahomes, who, man, he had a game.
Doesn't seem like he just never stopped, right? From the Super Bowl and just keeps on going, keep on trucking.
That rookie helped him out. He opened up the pass game for him. He made the pressure. He took the pressure off of him.
Yeah, I guess if we would have thought about how well Damian Williams played in the playoffs, we could have kind of put that guy in there. I was just hard for me to wonder how a rookie's going to play without a preseason, and it didn't look like it bothered him at all. Having no preseason did nothing.
Came in, he looked amazing. He looked fast, he looked powerful, he looked like he could catch the ball.
Well, even Darrell Williams, when he had the opportunities, he was in there and he was making the most of it. he was catching out of the backfield.
Patrick Mahomes ended with 211 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Rating 123.3. It's a great game. We got Sammy Watkins. Of course, we got to talk about Sammy. Good old Sammy. I had so many questions today about Sammy Watkins, and I'm not going to lie to anybody. I told everybody to sit him. And then when people said they had no better choice, I said, well, at least you know Sammy Watkins gives you week 1. Every year, Sammy Watkins has a great week 1. And what did he do? He came out and he surprised yet once again, and he led the Kansas City Chiefs in receiving. He had 7 receptions, 82 yards, average 11.7, and a touchdown. And his long was 19.
He had 21
He
fantasy
looked
points.
fresh.
21 fantasy points.
He looked fresh, and I pretty much guarantee he was on about 70% of leagues.
Oh, I guarantee.
Benches.
I know that he was on the bench in our league.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And at least 6 of my leagues that I looked at, because I went back to see, hey, how many people started Sammy Watkins? And I think one person out of all of my leagues started him.
Kelsey owners are happy.
Yeah, he got that lone touchdown in the beginning of the game that helped him, but after that, really not much of
Kind of
Kelsey.
quiet. Well,
Yeah.
they adverted to the run. They were up by so much after that second quarter. It was just hand it to the rookie and let's see what he can do. And
The hot
he
hand
showed
and he showed
up.
it. Yeah. He really
Another
did.
thing that surprised me, Mecole Hardman. Where was he?
See, that's the thing about the Chiefs and their offense. They have all these different parts at wide receiver that they can just interchange. Watch him.
Robinson seemed like he was the third wide receiver coming off the depth chart.
Yeah, but you know what? Coming into next week, I bet you that this all looks different. We'll probably still
Not
see
that
some.
he did anything amazing really with it. He went 3 for 20, but Mecole Hardman 1 catch, 6 yards. Maybe and like you said, maybe it's because they were running the ball a lot and the rookie took over, especially in the second half. But just seems for where people were drafting Mecole Hardman, Sammy Watkins was going over after Mecole Hardman.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how you put
It's
it
the nature
in
of the beast
retrospect.
when you have the Chiefs and you have all those receivers. You just never know who's going to be the guy that has the hot night and who's not.
So something I did notice when it came to the tight end position for the Houston Texans, Jordan Atkins
Yes.
seemed to get most of the passing work.
Yeah,
Got the
Fells
touchdown.
only had 2 targets for 2 receptions, but it seemed like most of the targets when they were throwing to the tight end would be.
Atkins had that 20-yard catch. That was an amazing catch.
He had a
That showed
touchdown.
some athleticism. He had a juke after the catch.
Yeah, no, and I think that he had 3 broken tackles on his first catch.
So maybe we'll see him moving up the fantasy boards here pretty soon. If he can manage to take over the number 1 spot there, might have a heyday
Yeah,
on the waiver wire.
stepping up there, huh?
Yeah, possible stepping up in the future. Well, that's going to do it for the matchup today. That pretty much covers it. It was a great game. Kansas City definitely looks like the Super Bowl team they were last year.
Hey, at least you got your value out of Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes in this game. Both guys went over 20 points.
Yeah, I don't think anybody fantasy disappointed if you started them except for Brandon Cooks, right?
Or Hill. I mean, Hill.
Nicole Hardman.
Nicole Hartman. Hill didn't do amazing. I don't know how many fantasy points he had, but he only had about 60 receiving yards. So,
Well, let's get into some news for today. What's relevant in the fantasy world today? Eddie, you want to start us off?
Sutton sustains AC joint sprain. He's still day-to-day, so you want to watch out for that. It's Thursday. We're going into Friday tomorrow. Only 2 more days till Sunday.
This is great for Jerry Jeudy owners.
Yeah, it is.
If he's running in that number one spot week 1,
And even if Sutton does play,
would you start him?
if Sutton plays,
No, Jeudy.
I would start Judy. Yeah,
Start
even
Jeudy.
if Sutton plays, I really feel like that Sutton is just gonna be there to take away. You know what I mean? To take some defenders away from Judy. He's gonna be there to run routes. You got an AC joint. It's gonna be hard to catch the ball, even if it's sprained. It's gonna be hard for him to move around.
Say I've got one of these bad matchups of the week we've been talking about. Say I've got AJ Green against Casey Hayward. Do I start Judy?
Over AJ Green?
Yeah. Kind of put it in retrospect.
Yeah.
Knowing that if Sutton is out, you start him. Over Green, who you know is going to be covered.
Yeah, against...
And then on top of that, number two cornerback.
It's against Tennessee's
Chris Harris
defense.
Jr.
Yeah, so it's a hard situation. It really is.
I've got Green and Boyd as sits.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna lose. I think the Chargers' defense is a good start. We'll get into that later in the matchups.
I think Jerry Jeudy is gonna have a good day though. I really do. So if you have the chance, if he's on your team and you have AJ Green, take the chance. It's week 1.
Zach Ertz having doubts about future in Philly.
Yeah, says he doesn't feel like
it more seemed to me like he was sad about it.
Yeah, like he felt like the team didn't have interest in him.
Yeah, why he hasn't deserved that. Earned
contract
that money.
extension, or earned his money, which
I understand
feel he has.
He has a lot of injury issues, but at the same time, what player in the league doesn't have injury issues?
I mean, they gave Wentz all that money and he had injury issues. Am I not right?
Kittle's been hurt.
Yeah.
They just paid him. I think the only one you can say hasn't been hurt for a long amount of time or been out multiple games because of an injury is Kelsey.
At the tight end position. Yeah, I would agree.
Only top tight end that has not been out with time. Yeah. 4 time because of an injury.
Maybe one game or so, but not
but I mean multiple games. If you're comparing Ertz and Kittle,
but
they're
I feel
about
Ertz
in the same boat when it comes to injuries.
He does deserve it though.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I said, they paid Wentz, and he's always hurt. They paid Deshaun. They got D-Jax back, and he's had history of being injured. Pay Ertz, man.
I'm getting a lot of Colts questions. About Mac, about Taylor, Doyle. I found some interesting news out today. Quentin Nelson was added to the injury report and did not participate in practice today.
Yeah, that could just be because they want to take it easy before
Anthony
the game on
Costanzo
Sunday.
was also out and came back to a limited practice today.
The same thing. If those guys don't play on Sunday,
we've got decent backups, but
I would still fear.
It's Jacksonville, so I think we've got it either way. I'm just more, I want that to be out there. People are worried about Mac. They're worried about Taylor. Well, Taylor is a risky flex at this point for me. Like, if you've got to start him, you invested that draft capital in him, and now you've got to put it back in there.
Yeah.
Then, yes, you got to start him. But for me, he's a risky flex just because you don't know.
Well, and Mac is already going to be the starter. Mac is starting, so
that's what I was just about to say. Is he's not starting like Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah.
So it's not that situation. He's coming off as the second running back. They say 1A running back. They can be 2 and 2, maybe, but we haven't seen that. We know Mac has produced behind that line. We know Mac is coming off a 1,000-yard season where he carried the ball for over 270 times. So the Colts actually top 5 in rushing last year
because the offensive line was really good. But if these guys are hurt,
they ran the ball for a total of 475 times last year. So if you give each of those running backs 200 carries, yes, they can both produce. San Francisco has seen people produce with multiple backs. There's been multiple teams that have done multiple
New
back
England's
systems.
been doing that for years.
There's no reason the Colts can't do it. And honestly, I think that's what they're trying to do. I see Taylor is like that change of pace. When Matt comes in to begin the game and he hits that ground running and that air just comes out of him and he needs a break, we got another guy who's going to go in there and give it 110%.
Just pound.
And when he needs a break, Mac's ready.
Yeah.
It's keeping him fresh.
That's hard on a defense when you're getting constantly pounded by different running backs and
look at James Conner.
Different things that these guys are doing.
For example, Steelers. He's been ran into the ground. There's never been that second consistent running back with him since Bell left. And he's been injury riddled. And it took a toll on him last year for sure, and in real life and in his fantasy game. So I think both of the running backs for the Colts are startable.
A lot of teams seem to going 2 running back systems. You know what I mean? So it's just a thing that to look out for. Like we said, keep eye out for the offensive linemen. And are you sitting or starting Mac if these guys aren't playing?
I'd still start him, but it's
Okay.
just be aware of that. It might be not as fair of a fantasy production for your day as if those two guys are in. They are key contributors to that line, centerpieces of it. If whatnot,
Yeah,
Nelson, Kelly, Costanzo. Those were probably the three main building blocks off that offensive line.
Yeah.
Braden Smith. I can't pronounce the right guard's name, or it's it's not worth it.
All right. So if they're not playing, you're still a start on Mac.
Yes.
Kenny G.
And Taylor's a risky flex.
Kenny G. Hamstring injury, being evaluated day to day.
Didn't practice.
Didn't practice today. Does that put your value on Jones up higher? Or
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'd start Jones, especially if Kenny G doesn't play. I'd start Jones. I don't necessarily know above who.
See the hamstring.
Would you start Jones over Jerry Jeudy if you knew Sutton and Galladay were out?
No, I would still start Jerry Jeudy over. See, here's the thing: is that Sutton being in the game, still being able, he can still play with that injury. When it comes to Kenny G, this is a hamstring injury. This is a total separate thing.
The real deal.
Yeah, so you're not running as fast. You can still get Sutton out there and take the defense off the top, and they're distracted. And you have Jerry Jeudy catching the ball in mid routes and running all over everybody. You know what I mean? You still have that option. If Kenny G's not in the game, you don't have that option for Jones. He's going to get up in targets. He's a start because of that. But you're definitely sitting Kenny G, even if he's starting.
Rieger returned to practice, limited.
Well, that kind of makes me wonder.
However you pronounce it.
That kind of makes me wonder about the other wide receivers there in Las Vegas, because they're both rookies. They say they're both starting, but now you have Rager, who actually participated in practice, a full day of practice today.
You mean the Eagles?
No, he's playing for the Raiders.
No, sir. Jalen Rager plays for the Eagles.
I'm sorry.
Eddie's having a brain fart.
I did. My bad.
That's Ruggs, is what I think you're thinking about. Ruggs plays for the Vegas Raiders, and he is the rookie. And then there's another rookie behind him who I believe is the second wide receiver because of Tyrell Williams being injured. So, I wouldn't start, even if he plays Rager. I wouldn't start him.
It wasn't Rager. It was Nelson Aguilar.
Oh.
I got him confused because of the Philly tie.
Yes. Okay.
I did. I was thinking Aguilar.
I'm like, we literally just talked about.
No,
this.
I was Aguilar. You have two rookies there. Aguilar has already been in the NFL. You know what I mean? So he's already knows the speed. I just think that just look out for him. See how he's thrown in the mix.
We got Evans missed practice for the third time this week. I don't think he's going to play this week, and even if he does, I'm not playing him. I don't feel safe about it. It's a hamstring issue, the same as
looking
Kenny
out for
G.
Godwin owners, looking out for them. That's definitely plus for them.
Yes, definitely, and Gronk owners too.
Yes.
So 49ers wide receiver Brandon Ayuk back at practice while Samuel sits due to his foot. So are you starting Ayuk?
I'm not starting either one of the receivers from the 49ers just because I don't know what
I think they're going to go
injuries.
really tight end heavy.
Yeah, probably with Kittle and Reed there.
Yeah.
It's definitely a possibility. Plus, Monster is a monster. So
yeah,
he's going to get the ball. He's going to be running. This is a hard choice for me for this whole team. It's kind of a bummer that both of these receivers are a little banged up right now. Garoppolo doesn't really throw the ball that much. So we'll see how that goes.
Alshon Jeffrey still not ready. Miles Sanders returned to limited practice. If he plays, do you start him?
Oh,
it's high draft capital. I understand people's concerns on this. That's why I figured maybe we should answer this question.
I think he's still a start. They said that he played a little bit today, right? He practiced limited.
Yeah.
So he sat yesterday. I think that he'll be okay. I don't think that they would have had him practice. Or you can see what happens tomorrow. If he practices tomorrow, he's a definite start still.
Well, Easy Bros, any of you out there thought of creating your own podcast? We personally use Buzzsprout. They've gotten us on every major podcast platform. The team at Buzzsprout is passionate about seeing you.
Join over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout. Follow the link in the show's notes. Let Buzzsprout know we sent you and receive a $20 Amazon gift card to help support the show.
Let's get into the rest of those matchups. We've got the rest of Week 1 matchups. We're going to start her off with my favorite team, Colts against the Jags. What are you thinking there? Rivers?
I would start Rivers. I like the matchup, Rivers against the Jags. I don't really know who's there playing for the Jags on defense since they want to throw everybody away.
A lot of young guys.
So Rivers is going to pick apart that
This is probably
defense, I believe.
one of the easiest matchups to pick this week when it comes to win-loss.
I agree. I think the Colts are going to easily take this game away.
And offensively are better than this team. There's no, I don't think there's anything that's going to stop them. I don't feel an upset in any way. I'd start Mac. I like I said before, I caution the flex on Taylor. If you need him, if you use that draft capital, like I said before, then of course start him. But if you got somebody else on your bench that looks like he could have a good week, maybe start him. Wait a week on the Taylor.
I am excited to see Jacksonville this year. I do like Minshew. I do like Chark. I am excited to see Eifert. I'm a fan of Eifert. I want to see him healthy. I want to see him be able to play an actual full season of football again.
I think they've quietly made a kind of like a B team where these players aren't bad. They're just not great.
They're this year's Dolphins.
You know, they have Chris Thompson. He's a great pass-catching running back. For the third downs, for passing game, he knows how to work out of the backfield.
And he's picks up blocks very well. He reads blocks very well. He played a long time in Washington, and they used him in a variety of different ways. And I think that Jacksonville is going to do the same thing.
DJ Chark was one of the top 15 wide receiver last year.
Yeah, fantasy points, yes.
So, and it was Minshew who was throwing the ball most of the season, so I don't see why that's going to get worse.
Yeah, did Foles only play 3 games? Did he play 4 games?
Yeah, 3, 4.
3 or 4, yeah. There. So for the majority of time, yeah. Chark was getting his receptions from Minshew. They built a good rapport there.
I don't think you really start anybody outside of if you're in a deep league or you've got a really bad matchup with your quarterback and you don't have a backup quarterback, Minshew's going to throw the ball a lot in this game, so that could lead to a positive game script fantasy-wise. So, if deep start, Minshew, possibility.
My only start on this team
besides
would be Chark.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I like Eifert, but it just depends.
I wouldn't start Eifert.
It depends on who you have. You're talking about Thompson.
He's at a new team. He didn't produce much last year with the Bengals, with the team he's been with forever. So I need to prove me game.
Yeah. I feel the same way.
I've got T.Y. Hilton as a start, of course. Paris Campbell, Michael Pittman Jr. I take the wait and see approach with those two. I don't think Campbell showed enough last year to be fantasy relevant, and Michael Pittman Jr. is a rookie. Hasn't had any preseason training camp.
Yeah, but we've seen what happened earlier with no preseason or training camp for the rookie. So
yeah,
it could be a different.
I think it's different though when you come in
pace.
as a wide receiver and you're third on the depth chart.
Yeah, and the routes and all that. Yeah, when you're just getting the ball handed off to you and then you're kind of, you know what to do with it. It's a different story.
I think Doyle has the possibility of ending the season as long as he is not injured. Top 15 tight end.
I agree.
Possibly top
I agree
10.
with you. Yeah,
he has that possibility simply because
Rivers
is throwing him the ball,
yes.
And I only say that because Phillip is throwing him the ball. If it was any other quarterback, Doyle will be top 20. Of course, he is every year almost, as long as he's not hurt half the season.
Yes,
but let's
definitely
move
with
on.
Rivers, it helps him out.
Let's move on to Cleveland and Baltimore. Cleveland and Baltimore. We got Mayfield. I got him as a sit.
Against this defense, I agree.
Yeah. You've got Jimmy Smith. You've got Marcus Peters, right?
Yes.
Jimmy Smith, Marcus Peters.
Yeah.
So they're guarding already OBJ, Jarvis Landry. You've got Austin Hooper, which I surprisingly have as a sit this week too because new team, not
Plus,
very much time to get together with
Baltimore's
them.
defensive line is nasty.
So I'm kind of, if it's not Chubb or Hunt, I'm kind of sitting Cleveland Browns this week. Baltimore, of course, you're starting Jackson. I don't think there's ever a question on that. If he is playing, you are starting him. There's no one better. There's no one that has a better matchup because he is Lamar Jackson. Ingram, I'd start him. He seemed to do good against Cleveland.
I want to see how that 1-2 thing is going to go with Ingram and Dobbins. I want to see how much.
I have Dobbins on here. I have him as a sit.
I want to see how much they actually give him as
see.
playing time. You know what I mean?
Marquise Brown.
Start.
Even going against Ward.
Yes.
Okay.
Andrews. He's faster. He's going to get open.
I don't feel like Andrews is really a question either.
Yeah, you're starting
Top 3 tight end, you're starting him, huh?
I think the only time that he didn't get started last year was the bye week.
And last but not least, of course, we're starting the Ravens defense.
Yeah.
Do you think
they're going to be a
any
top 3
possibility
defense?
of an upset?
Not with this game.
Not at all.
I don't see it at all.
The Browns have playmakers. The Browns have a defense. They just didn't play well together last year. It could be as simple as coming out this year, realizing their mistakes from last year, and making a difference.
This was the best team in football last year, the Baltimore Ravens.
No, I'm not saying
they had the best record. I just feel like they're going to come right off of that. They're lost in the playoffs.
Zero chance, though.
Yeah, I don't think there's a chance that Cleveland's winning this game. I would like to because I'm a huge fan of Jarvis Landry, and I would like to see them win. I like Baker Mayfield. I would like to see him get a win. I'd like to see them get back on track. I don't see it happening against the Baltimore Ravens.
Chargers, Bengals.
Good matchup.
Who you want to talk first?
None. I'm just kidding. Let's go with the Bengals. We're going to see we got the vet coming back healthy. We have the rookie starting, the only rookie starting quarterback this year.
Yeah. Only rookie starting quarterback.
I think there was 4 last year.
Crazy.
Was there 4 last year?
I'm not 100% on that one, but I know it was multiple.
But at least the last couple of years, there's been more than one.
Yeah. Well, Burrow, I still would sit him against the Chargers defense, like we were talking earlier. You got Casey Hayward and Chris Harris Jr. on the other side of there.
Nick Bosa.
So I feel like they're going to put a lot of pressure on the rookie, and in turn is not going to give the wide receivers enough time to create the routes. I think this is going to be a Joe Mixon game. There's going to be a lot of dump-off passes, and they're going to run the ball.
I agree.
They gave him an extension for a reason. I think they plan to run this bell cow.
I don't see them going any other way in the game plan. They're just Mixon is definitely going to get the heavy load because of the rookie.
So pretty much, to cut it short, the only Bengals player I have starting is Mixon. Green and Boyd, like I said, going up against Casey Hayward and Chris Harris Jr., so I just don't feel like they're going to produce as much. I think this is going to be a run game. I think the Chargers are going to do the same thing. They're going to run, and it's just going to be a slow and low scoring.
You think it's going to be a low scoring game?
Yes.
All right. Oh, how about on the other side? We got the Chargers.
Taylor is kind of a deep start, but I don't think anyone's starting them in a league that's less than a 16-man.
Definitely
league.
a second quarterback in a two quarterback league.
He's a deep start, and that's why I like to put deep start, because start, it means start. He's a great start this week. Deep start means 2-quarterback league. Your quarterback got hurt. Your
quarterback has
on
a
bye,
terrible matchup.
and everybody in the league has a backup quarterback. So there's like 4 left on the waiver wire. So Eckler,
start.
Of course. Allen,
start.
Henry,
sit.
See, I think
I want to see Tyrod Taylor's rapport with him first.
Yeah, but that's where I feel a little differently, because there's only Allen out there, wide receiver-wise. You've only got Allen. Eckler, of course, he's more of a receiver than a halfback. But they've got to throw the ball to the middle of the field to open up the deep shots, to open up the curl routes, to open up the halfback pitch. I just feel...
All right, like he's a start then.
Yeah, I guess. At least until he proves us not.
Right.
He was good last year. I understand Phillip Rivers makes any tight end better, and that's why I'm so high on Doyle. But Tyrod Taylor was not bad at getting his tight ends the ball when he started.
I mean, they are playing the Bengals. They didn't do very well on defense last year, so I mean, I guess you can start Hunter Henry if he's your starting tight end. You're not going to lose anything out of it.
I'd start the Chargers D.
Yeah.
It's gonna. I feel like there's at least an interception or two waiting out there. We've got the Bucks and the Saints. Tom Brady.
Oh man, I've been waiting to see this. I've been waiting to see Tom
I know,
Brady
I can't
in a
wait
different
to see
uniform.
this matchup.
I've been waiting to see
I just want to see him and Brady
Michael Thomas
go head to head.
do terrible. No, I'm just
They've both got great offenses. I know that Mike Evans is down, but Brady's still got Godwin. He's still got Gronk. He's got O.J. Howard. He's got Fournette, Ronald Jones.
the list goes on.
Yeah, there's plenty. Cameron Brate is even sitting there as the third tight end. And he's shown with Winston he can create, so I assume Brady would be able to make him that much better.
I don't even feel with Brady there that there is even a tight end. I think these guys are all receivers.
Yeah, pretty much. So I'd start Brady. I'd sit the running backs for the first week. I wouldn't start either of them. I think this is going to be a game where Breeze and Brady are going to take aim at each other, and they're going to see what each other are made of.
I think Fournette's a start in a flex position.
I go back and forth because the first reports when he signed with the Bucks is he's going to be sitting behind Ronald Jones for the first week. Then we got reports a day ago saying that he could have a sizable workload coming off the bench.
This is still Leonard Fournette. It's like we've seen what he's done in the past.
The Saints know how to score, and I feel like Brady's going to have to keep up with them. Okay. Fournette is not I don't think he's a pass catching specialist out of the running.
I mean, he does. He fares well.
He does decent.
Yeah, he fares well, but
he's not a creator of space. Didn't we learn that when we were going over through our red zone attempts? And he's had over 17 and only
like 2 touchdowns.
Done like 3 touchdowns.
I get that, but I just feel like the offense, even with Mike Evans not being there, is going to create so much down the field that if they're going to run the ball and he gets his opportunities, that he's going to create an opportunity.
I got Evans as a sit. Godwin, of course, as a start.
Yeah.
Evans is only sitting because he's hurt. It's his hamstring. I would give it a week. If you got somebody on the bench you can start for the week, I just wouldn't take that chance. You've also got Gronk. I would definitely start Gronk. If Evans is out, I believe his red zone targets are going to increase because Mike Evans, I would assume, was going to be that red zone target.
Yeah, I feel like that.
Godwin and
Gronk.
He's a creator. He catches the ball and he creates something out of it.
Yeah.
We've also got the Saints. We got Breeze, start.
Definite start.
Kamara,
start.
Thomas, Sanders.
You're going to start both of these guys. Sanders is a guy that gets receptions. And like you said, with Godwin, Sanders creates after he catches the ball.
Oh, I'm excited to see that.
I'm excited to see.
I've been trying to trade for him. I can't get him anywhere.
Thomas is definitely going to open up a lot more.
Thanks a lot.
I really don't want to see Thomas do well at all. But anyways, that's just because of his beef with Devontae Parker there.
Jared Cook?
Jared Cook is a sit for me.
I got him as a start.
Just because I feel like
Thomas is going to be such a high-scoring game. There's going to be plenty
and Sanders are going to get a lot of targets.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Any of these defenses, are you starting either one of these defenses?
I got the Saints as a deep start. So say, there's no defense on the waiver wire that has a good matchup for the week, then yes, start your Saints defense. They're not bad. They've got some playmakers, and if you got nothing better, then that's what you got to go with.
Yeah.
I would not start the Bucks defense until you see that they can defend the pass.
Who do you got winning this game?
I think it's going to be really close, but I'm actually leaning towards the Saints simply because, they've been together longer. All their pieces have been together multiple years.
Do you think them being at home makes a difference right now?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Just a thought. You know what I mean? So our next matchup is going to be good old home state Arizona Cardinals versus the San Francisco 49ers. We got Murray facing off against Garoppolo. I think Murray's a start in this game, and Garoppolo is a sit. And I'm only basing the sit on Garoppolo because I think they're going to hand the ball off a lot. They don't throw the ball a lot in San Francisco. If they change that this offseason, that'd be great to see. But with their receivers, I'm not really sure. I would like to say you could start Deebo Samuel if he's healthy because, like earlier when read in the injury list, he was kind of banged up and he sat out. It's risky for me. Monster, definite start.
Murray, everybody that I have seen, especially today, has been asking, do we start Murray or this guy? Murray or this guy? Because of the San Francisco 49ers matchup. Defense is incredible. But my kind of response to that is, did you not see him play last year?
Yeah, he's a definite start for me. Even if the defense is
double-digit, above 20 fantasy points,
and he
both
finds a
weeks
way.
he played them.
He finds a way.
Now we have Hopkins. We have an upgrade. We have an upgraded team, I believe. I think we've gotten better over the offseason. So if he did what he did last year with what we had last year, how are people so down on him starting against the San Francisco defense?
Plus, the first game they
Isn't
played...
this the guy that coming into the fantasy season, everybody is saying, oh, he's top 5 potential. He could end up battling it out with Lamar Jackson for the number 1 spot for QB
That's who
scoring.
they were. Yeah, that's exactly who they were comparing him to.
He can't do that
Lamar
if he can't score against San Francisco.
Yeah.
He can't do that if he can't score against the Los Angeles Rams. So
I feel...
my bold prediction right here. Bold prediction. Murray finishes top 5 this week.
Honestly,
and I'm not just saying that because I have him and I'm starting him against you.
He played well against them both games last year. The first game he played against them, he didn't have Hopkins. He didn't have Drake.
Well,
and you're adding them to the mix. That's going to make your defense prepare differently. They're not only preparing for Kyler Murray, is he going to run on them? They got to prepare for, can he pitch the ball out to Drake, and Drake's going to run on us? Can he throw the ball deep to Hopkins, and he's going to run on us? And then you got the other receivers in the middle. They didn't lose any receivers from last year.
And don't forget
they only
tight
upgraded.
end Arnold.
Or Max Williams?
Max Williams is actually dealing with an issue.
Did they say what it was? Undisclosed injury?
Yeah,
I think
undisclosed
something like that.
injury or something.
So, but they didn't say that he was out, did they?
No,
for week
no,
one.
they didn't say he was
I
out.
mean, if he plays, you have options.
Well, and then too, DeAndre Hopkins isn't like every other wide receiver. He is a monster of his own, and I don't think Richard Sherman has to face a lot of monsters when it comes to the wide receiver position.
Yeah, and definitely not in this division.
No.
I mean, DJ Metcalf is building to maybe a possible monster in the division as a receiver, but that's not this year. Hopkins is already established. We already know what he can do.
All right, so I'm starting Murray. We're starting Drake. We're starting Hop.
Kittle is the start for me.
Starting Kittle. Starting Mostert. We got any wide receivers starting? I say no.
Like I said, if Deebo Samuel plays, I start him for the fact that he will probably get
10 targets.
10
12
targets. Yeah. I would like to see Brandon Ayuk get 10, 12 targets, but I don't know what they're going to look like, and he sat out. He was injured in practice, so we'll see what happens. Do you start any of these defenses?
I think you can start San Francisco.
See?
It's hard for me to say start San Francisco because I truly believe Murray's going to produce against them.
Plus, I think they're going to win.
Yes, and if Murray produces, how can you start the defense?
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
I think Drake is going to produce against them. So that means, no, I wouldn't start him. No, I'm sticking to my guns. I wouldn't start either defense.
Zane Gonzalez. Did you start him?
Yeah, as long as nothing happens.
Okay. All right.
I saw he was dropped in a lot of leagues, but I'm not finding any information on if there's anything wrong with him. I don't know if there was just that many people who jumped on another kicker's train at the same time or what, but I don't see anything wrong with Costanzo because he's my kicker. Gonzalez, oh my gosh. He could be a kicker too.
All right, our next game we got Dallas Cowboys against the Los Angeles Rams. How are you feeling about Dak Prescott versus Jared Goff here? Are either one of these guys a start for you?
Both.
Well, Prescott and Goff are both a start for me. Then how about running back position? We got Zeke, and I'm not sure, is Brown going to be the starter or is it Cam Akers?
I've heard so many different reports.
So honestly, I wouldn't start either one of the guys.
I've heard they're going to start Brown, but Akers is going to have more of a role because Brown has been having issues with injuries So same with
say
Henderson. Supposedly he was trying to make it back for the opener.
wait and see approach because
Yeah.
I mean if Henderson gets back, does Henderson get the start? Because
I said
he's
everybody
played well,
there.
right? So
I said all the running backs this week for the Rams. Wide receivers: Cooper, Gallup, CeeDee Lamb. I'm actually leaning towards sitting Cooper this week. I think CeeDee Lamb and Gallup have a better opportunity here.
see, and I was going sit.
You've got
Gallup,
Jalen Ramsey.
Sit Gallup
against
and
Cooper.
you start Lamb and Cooper.
See, I think he's in a matchup with Cooper.
All right.
I think
See
that's
what
why
happens.
they paid him to guard the
big
big guys. I think that's why they paid him so much money.
I mean, you brought
Cardinals.
Hopkins
Yeah,
over.
you got the Hopkins at the Cardinals. It just seems like
got
they're
Metcalf
preparing.
with Seattle. So
Yes. So
all right. How about we go Cup
I'm
and
off
Woods?
the Cooper train.
Cup and Woods.
Start them both.
I'm starting Woods and Cup too. I think that they have a good matchup
Start
against
Higbee.
Dallas's secondary. I start Higbee. I think he has a good matchup. How about Jarwin on the other side at tight end? You starting Jarwin?
Nah, I'd take the wait and see approach. Let's see if he can have a fantasy breakout week.
When it comes to tight ends and facing off against defenses that have a good defensive line, sometimes it's hard for me to start that tight end. And he's going up against arguably one of the best defensive lines, right?
Yeah.
With the Rams. So
I don't think I would start either of their defenses either. I think this is going to be a high-scoring affair.
I would start Greg Zuerlein, the Cowboys kicker. He's shown in the past that he will kick the ball from wherever. And
is it a little revenge game for the kicker?
yeah, and that too. Hey, man, kickers have revenge games too, all right?
Do they?
Didn't Vinatieri leave the Pats to go to the Colts?
Yeah, and then kicked against them.
I'm just saying. Okay, our next game, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers against the New York Football Giants. We have Ben Roethlisberger coming back against the second-year man, Daniel Jones. I'm not starting
I didn't
Daniel
know
Jones.
the Giants changed their name too. New York Football Giants.
Hey, man. That's what they call them, the New York Football Giants.
This is Washington football.
The Washington football team, the New York Football Giants. Hey, man, same division. They
Sorry,
should
did
have
I
just
throw you off.
They should they should have just kept them Washington Football Team. That
Big Ben
should just be their
Big
name.
Ben, do you start him?
Yeah, I'm starting Ben against the Giants defense.
Agreed.
Connor, I'm starting against the Giants defense. Honestly, I'm just gonna get down to it. On the Giants team, the only guy I'm starting is Barkley. The only guy I'm starting.
Really?
Yeah, I don't have any trust in the receivers. I like Ingram. I don't like his matchup against the Steelers and their defensive line. Like I said, the defensive line, when they have a tough defensive line, it seems to not trend well for the tight end.
Okay, all right. How about on the other side?
Juju, I'm starting. I'm not starting Johnson because I'm not sure what his health status is at the situation right now. I'm starting Ebron. I think Ben is going to light it up with Ebron.
Yeah, they have reported that that's the whole reason they got him. That they see Vance McDonald more as the blocking tight end, and that Ebron they brought over purely for Ben to have another target that can create its own. He's very good. The Colts let him go. I understand that, and I'm not salty about it at all. I think he had a great season with us that first season, and I think just things went sour that second season. So now that he's at a fresh place and they paid him some good money, so they obviously plan to use him, he could be a deep start for me.
I think he has 2 touchdowns. I think that Ebron in this game gets 2 touchdowns.
Is that going to be your bold prediction?
Yeah, I'll take that for my bold prediction. Ebron with 2 touchdowns. Big Ben coming back.
You heard it here first.
Eric
Eddie's
Ebron,
bold
2
prediction
touchdowns.
and Zach's bold prediction. Kyler Murray, baby.
All right. So I say Pittsburgh wins that game.
Yeah,
We're
I
on the
agree
same.
there.
All
Yeah,
right.
you start their defense.
Our next game and the last game of the week, the last Monday Night Football game, it's going to be Tennessee versus Denver. We got Tannehill versus Locke. I'm starting both of these guys.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a little bit of a shootout. Of course, Henry, you start him. He's going to have a great game. I think you can start Gordon. I would lean off on Lindsey till you see Gordon's the starter. The only reason I say lean off on Lindsey is just to see what his role is now that Gordon's there.
Back on the rolls.
He proves he's still going to get 12, 15 touches. He can produce as a flex. That's for sure, but let's make sure that that's what he's getting. We don't know. We haven't seen preseason. We haven't seen anything. So
Tennessee running back situation, you're starting Henry, of course.
Wide receiver, A.J. Brown.
A.J. Brown, Adam Humphries. I'm not starting Humphries. I am starting Brown.
Okay.
I think Brown has tremendous upside this year. I think that this is going to be the year that he shows everybody what he can do.
Gianna Smith?
I'm not starting Smith.
Oh,
I
disagree on that one. I think you can start Smith. I think Tannehill proved that
he likes his tight ends.
He likes his tight ends.
I just think Denver's their secondary and their defensive line, even without Von Miller, they're still pretty good. So it's just a hard choice for me. I like John Smith. I think he's going to have a good year. I just don't think this is the matchup for him.
We talked earlier. Cortland Sutton hurt his AC joint.
I still think that
he
he's going to be a
plays, do you
factor
start
in the
him?
game. I don't start him if he plays.
Okay.
Just because the AC
if he
joint.
plays, do you still start Judy?
Yes. I'm going to start Judy either way.
Okay.
Judy is a start for me. I think that he's going to show up and show off.
Noah Fant? Noah Fant?
Yeah, start him.
Start him?
He ended the season well last year. Him and Locke. I'm high on Locke. I think the Locke's going to have a good year. I think this whole offense is going to take a step forward with the additions that they have of Gordon and Jerry Jeudy. It's just going to be a good year for Denver, I think.
What do you think for defenses? Do you start either of their defenses?
Oh, man.
I don't think I would start Denver's with the hit with Von Miller. Tennessee improved with Clowney.
But he didn't have any of the training camp with them. I know that he's coming in as a defensive end or outside linebacker, and really they're just going to be rushing him when they need him to.
Practicing with the linebackers.
So, I mean, either way, he might make a difference. I think it's just too soon to find out. I do like Tennessee's defense a little bit more than Denver's this season because of Von Miller being out.
All right, well, that was a good show. Good Thursday night matchup. It's nice to have football again. It is nice to be talking fantasy football again.
Yes, thank you guys for joining us. I'd like to remind you to check us out on our Buzzsprout link at easybrosffpod.buzzsprout.com. Also check us out on Twitter and Instagram at easybrosffpod. Like us, subscribe. Also check us out at our Patreon link, our patreon.com/easybros. Click and subscribe. If you become a patron on the Patreon page, you'll be getting access to exclusive stats, questions that you can ask me and Zach directly. You're also going to get extra episodes. We're going to put bonus content on the Patreon for you if you become a patron.
All right.
Thanks for joining the Easy Bros of the Easy Bros Fantasy Football Podcast. Don't forget to join us for our next episode. Like, subscribe, and check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and also our website, EasyPod Bros at EasyBrosFantasyFootball.com.